Hello and welcome back to the Innovator Channel. Today we are talking about something that may be of interest, especially to folks who are maybe getting into slingshots. What it is a tool that you can use to make practice ammo. The material I'm going to use this is an offcut, this is a scrap of polymorph, or otherwise known as thermoplastic. The idea is we want to produce some ammo, a size that we think we're going to like using. You can see that, there's one I made earlier. The tool is very simple to make out of some scrap material. In this case, I had some hardboard around, and here we go, and some bits of scrap wood. And the process, the tool is very simple to make. So you see this tool, so we've got some big BBs, these are marbles, and what we're going to do today is, if you can just see here, we've got some steel BBs set into the wood, and what they are is, grab one of these, they're set so that they touch the wood perfectly, or in this case hardboard, they touch perfectly on this surface. And what that means is, so we've got 4 BBs. Now if we take another board, you'll see that gap is absolutely exactly the same height as the BBs, the things we want to make. Now obviously, if we put a marble in, we want to make a different size ammo. See, we can leave the little ones in there, but if we put these big ones in, the same thing. You see that gap? We can now make some ammo of a bigger size. In fact, here we go. As all the good programs say, here's one I made earlier. So, how do we build this tool? There's not much to it. You need very few tools to do so. I mean, literally, it's as simple as you want a nice smooth base plate, and you want something either side of it with a channel in the middle. And in this case, I have simply super glued, as you can probably see with this darker area, I've simply super glued some strips of wood onto the hardboard. And what we've done is, if you can see these BBs are actually quite deep into the wood. Now these BBs, obviously the wood's, all it has to do is stop, when you're moving things around, to stop these BBs that you want to create from slipping around. So we've drilled into the wood, we've made some little cups that the ammo we want to produce fits into. And that's it really. Now the other thing, of course, is you need a top plate that we're going to use to roll and smooth out the material. You could use clay, I guess, if that's what you wanted to do. In this case, we're going to use the thermoplastic because, of course, it's reusable. So maybe, you know, that part of the reason I wanted to make this was, in our house, we have the passage that I shoot down for practice, or if it's raining, has windows on one side. You don't want some big heavy steel BB bouncing around while you're shooting at a can and breaking a window. So just for practice, of course, some plastic. This stuff will bounce a can around as good as any BB that you could shoot down. They're made out of clay, wood, steel, glass. It'll shoot it around and you'll have a fine old time doing it. So we'll just see if we can just make up do a little demo about how this works. So realistically, all you need is essentially some material, and in this case, a heat gun. We're going to turn it on, heat the material up, material up, and we'll see if we can make an 8mm BB. So you obviously want to be careful. Let's get this going. And this is a material you can put into water. Realistically, any kind of heat source that you can find that will get this hot enough to become transparent. And it doesn't take very long because this is quite thin. Can you see that? That's become, in a matter of sort of seconds, that's started to become transparent, and that means it's becoming soft. Now, we might not necessarily use all of this, as it's just for demonstration purposes, but we'll get it going, and then we can literally probably just tear off a bit so you can see how the idea works. You see that's not taking long at all. Okay, right, and you can see as long as you're careful and you don't get it too close to the heat source. Here we go, let's move that over there. See that? Look, it's soft already. And I'll tear a chunk off. Come here. There we go. Okay, so we've got some squishy material. I'm going to need to heat it up just a little bit because there's a little lump in the corner that's not quite soft. Get him going. I'm not going to do too many because I'm sure you guys will get how this works. There we go. Right. Okay, see, as long as we're careful, straight away it's soft and we can use it. So we're going to make a basic sausage, and we want to just make sure that it's bigger than what we want. Now you can see this is, whoop, where is it? There we go. So it's about this, in this case, this is about the size of my finger. This sausage is probably about 10mm, but we want it slightly bigger. And what we're going to do is take the tool, just lay the blob on there. And to start off with, all we're going to do is roll backwards and forwards to make a sausage. Well, that's easy, no problem there. And you'll know when it's the right size because you can feel the resistance stops. And there we go, and you can probably see, how about this? You see, there we go, we've got an absolutely, whoa, accurate 8mm, in this case, sausage. All we're going to do roughly is cut off about 8mm down the sausage. Whoops. 2. Lost one there, but we won't worry about that. Right, now we've got a little nugget. Now it's still probably warm enough to do this, but we'll just warm him up a bit more just to make it a bit easier. Because especially the smaller this material gets, of course, the quicker it cools. So we're just going to warm him up again. And because with this material, of course, it's brilliant because you can keep warming it up as much as you like. You know, it's not like resin that maybe goes off. So now we want a ball. So what we're going to do this time, we'll place it back in the tool. In this case, we're going to roll round in a circle, gently pushing down. And you'll see, now you'll feel the difference when it changes. You'll feel it. Okay, right, so there's one. Now we've got an interesting thing happened. Can you see that? It's made a cone, and that's telling us something. If it makes a cone, we've got too much material. So, we'll cut a little bit off. There we go. I'll keep that for later, because you can keep using all the bits. Warming back up a bit, and once you can make a little tool and a little something else, you know, a way of cutting these things off to size. But realistically, I find once you kind of get a feel for it, you're never that far out cutting off from the sausage the kind of size you want. But we're a little bit too big. Right, okay, so we've melted this down again, or softened this up again, popping back in the tool. Roll him around again. And if you're doing this, it's just that, you know, you only want a dozen things to practice with. You don't need loads. How are we doing? A little bit there. A little bit of fiddling. No, still a bit too big. That's no problem. There we go. Put that back in the pile. And do it again. Now, for people who are just starting out, this is worth maybe taking the time to do. And I only say that because when I was learning, if you can just see on there, if the camera will pick it up, just here, when I was learning, I kept hitting the frame with the steel BBs. So as you'll appreciate, by being able to make something out of a softer material just to practice, it doesn't damage your slingshot. And of course, when you get better and it doesn't happen, then you know, you could just melt them down. There we go. There we go. See, look at that. Whoop, where's he gone? We got a perfect now little round sphere. So we had to trim it a couple of times, but essentially we are good to go. And there we go. So we're just going to roll that around a little bit. So we got a lovely little round sphere, and obviously when it cools, this is what it ends up like. And yes, as I say, once you get your eye in, you'll find that you get used to snipping these things off and they come about the right length. Same thing applies. See, we did some much bigger ones. So in this case, all we did, we popped in these marbles in here. Same thing, made a sausage, rolled him to size with the top, cut him to size just by eye, you know. Take a marble, let's say that's your sausage, get your marble, there you go. Okay, let's cut him off about there, roll him round, and in this case we made a bigger one. Maybe you want to hunt things in your practice area. You know, you want something you can shoot without, maybe like marbles, of course. You know, you shoot a marble in the house or against a wall, it'll break because it's made of glass. But you maybe want to use something like this because it's a cheap thing to hunt with. Who's to say? Now the only thing I'm going to say about making these, oh, let's lose that so we don't have that noise going. I will say about these is always have a good backstop. If you're going to make these, have a good backstop like a cloth or a blanket or a catch box, because the only thing about these is the material is quite flexible and they will rebound off a wall. Now they're not going to hurt you very much, but if it catches you in the eye, if you haven't got goggles on or glasses on, or just general safety, you don't want it to bounce around and hit the cat or something, make sure you have a good backstop. If you're new to the sport, this could save you slingshot, save you some money, and of course nobody wants their equipment to, you know, to look untidy. You want it to look good as new. There we go. Simple tool to make, very few tools to make it, and you can whiz off all different sizes. You might find that of interest. Thanks for dropping in. Please feel free to check out my other playlists. Catch you later.